I don't know if you all have had one of those weeks before where you felt like everything you did to get ready for the week got put on the back burner because there were so many other things going. But that's the kind of week I'm having this week. It's a little crazy, and I'm just now getting to this at 2 o'clock on Friday, which is not good. But at any rate, we're looking at lesson 27. It's really the first lesson in the section in submission on submit to one another. And this week, as we look at this, uh, we're going to start out with the hook, and I'm just going to read the questions to you that are in the lesson, and then I've got a couple suggestions on how we might enhance this as well. Have you ever felt like you didn't really fit in the group, in with a group, even though you were definitely part of it? Why did you feel that way? Do you think it was your own perception, or do you think it had something to do with others in the group? What was the outcome? Probably this is going to apply to everybody that is in your classroom in one way or another. Uh, just going through junior high, going through high school, and all of the different things that, just think about being picked last in PE, or, a number of things that students would have to deal with. And they've always felt like they were on the outside of the group. And, I think this would be a great place not to get into a discussion about church and then bridge into a bashing session of any kind. But I think it would be beneficial to explore this and say, all right, have there been times that you have felt this way in regard to church? And really just kind of get their feedback on that. I don't think it would hurt anything. I think actually it might help us as a youth ministry to know when are those times they felt excluded, and why they felt excluded. So while that can help us, the primary reason is here we want to look at this lesson because it's going to apply. Because the body of Christ is one, but how many divisions do we see at times in the church? Just in some people say there's cliques. I don't know if that's an accurate term or not. There's always going to be people that you're closer with, and there's going to be other people that are not you're not as close with. But at the same time, we need to be a group of people that is always reaching out and making an effort to include others. And I think that's where that breaks down a lot, is that people get comfortable in because they already have a group of people that they're comfortable with, and then they forget what it felt like whenever they were the ones coming into the group. So, at any rate, we need to make sure that we stress that we are all one in the body of Christ. As we read there in that portion of the took um, section, um, if you know anything about Corinthians, one of their main issues was a real um, divisions that happened in the church, and it even says there in the first chapter that some were arguing that I was baptized by Paul, or I was baptized by, or I'm of Paul and I'm of Apollos, and Paul gets very upset with them for trying to what would I say, for trying to make one look better than the other. And then on in the book, you find places where they've obviously felt like some spiritual gifts are better than another. And so there's a variety of reasons why there are divisions in the church, but all throughout that thing, Paul is stressing that we are unified in the person of Christ, but yet there is diversity in the gifts, and I don't know that Paul says this, but obviously there's diversity in the peoples and the personalities, and God puts us all together for a reason, for His kingdom purposes, and so we need to make sure we stress unity in that as well. I like this quote that has been put in here, um, where it says. Uh, the Corinthians' most fundamental problem was not their rejection of the church's unity, but rather its failure to acknowledge its diversity. Um, we could look. You can look in your classroom this Sunday and see the diversity that sits in there. You could look among us teachers and see the diversity just in us. And oftentimes we think if people aren't the same as us, then you know we don't know how to take them, don't understand them, don't know how to relate to them. But God has put us here and designed this for a reason. And so just remembering all of this as we go through that took portion, and seeing why students say that they've felt excluded in different groups before, and what the outcome of that was. So this is real choppy I'm giving you today, and I apologize for that, but we're going to go ahead and work through the other sections, and hopefully this will be of some benefit to you. Thanks. I just want to say a word of comment on whenever we're looking at this as far as being members of one body. I often think we give the impression that the membership in the church is just an organizational chart. It's just a thing that we join, like we would join the Kiwanis Club or the Lions Club or whatever. And obviously, what we're looking at today is much more than that. Um, whenever we're members of a church, we're members of a church because we're members of the body of Christ, and that interconnectedness should make us love and appreciate the other people uh, more than just being members of an organization or a club. It should mean that we are bound to one another, that we are obligated in joyful times and in sad times to one another, and that we would be there for one another because we are one body. And just like if one member of the body hurts, like it says, that we all hurt, and if one member of the body rejoices, we should all rejoice. And so I guess, and maybe I'm the only one that's ever felt this way, but I've grown up in the church. I mean, I went to church before I was born, all the way up, and there's never been a time I've been out of church. And so many times, you talk about being a member of one church or another church. Um, in my mind, I've sometimes equated that to having my name on a roll, when it's so much fuller and so much broader than that. I'm really glad that we're emphasizing this, is that we're members of the body of Christ. And so therefore, we are connected to one another in a more full sense than just saying we go to the same place on Sundays and Wednesdays. We are connected to one another. So I've said that about 30 times now. And so that's just kind of a brief thing I wanted to bring up, and we can hopefully bring that out in the lesson as well. Thanks.